know there's more in you, but you cannot see it. There's a remedy, and I've got the strategy. It's time to turn the dreams into a reality. And I'ma help you. Got the time to. And I'ma help you. 'Cause it's time to.
All right, welcome back to Push Talk Podcast. I am so excited to be back. It's been way too long. Way too long. I'm so excited to be on the screen with you guys today. As you know me, I'm Ose Sesay, the producer, the everything when it comes to Push Talk Podcast. So excited to have you here. If this is your first time here watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts, I want you to take a moment now. Look out for your girl. Please go subscribe, like, follow, add a star, send a smoke signal, okay? Just do something to up my game a little bit because I'm here providing you content from the heart, lived experiences in business, career, and beyond. And I'm really excited to have my guest today, Queeta. Welcome, Queeta.
Yay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you because this episode is about women like yourself. Empower you, sis. Yes. This is our month of women empowerment. We are having our event, Empower You, Sis, in Minneapolis, October 14th. If you're not here, then too bad for you. It's okay. Join us.
Right? Because we're going to be there. We are in there.
Yes, it's going to be a blast. Queeta will be there as well. But if you are in Minneapolis and you want more information, go to our website, pushstrategist.com/events, and you'll see everything. So just happy to be back live, Queeta. I mean, I've had this podcast now this is my 5th season.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it started in 2020, something that I love to do. And as you get busy and business grows, you don't get to always, put out episodes like I would like to. I always wanted to do every Thursday, and I was so faithful with that until this year. And then things changed. But just to get on, it made me realize how much I miss doing this. And I miss talking to the world.
Kudos to you to keep that you're still going.
Yes.
You're still going. You're still trying to stay consistent. And that's all that matters.
I'm telling you, one day at a time. I tell people, even the push strategist needs her push some days too. So thank you for that, Queeta. But today is not about me and my fabulous self. It's about you and your fabulous self, Queeta. So I want to talk a little bit about you. She's gonna share wisdom in her world of real estate and just all the beautiful things that come with running a real estate business. Queeta is actually a native right here in Minneapolis with me. She has her bachelor's in psychology, and then went on to later maintain her master's degree. Woo woo.
Yes.
And now she has launched her real estate business. She's a diva, fabulous mother, wife, everything. So for our episode, you're welcome. For our episode of Empower You, Sis, for the month, we really want to focus on just you sharing your story. And I want to start off just kicking off the episode asking, how do you stay empowered? What is empowerment to you, and how do you stay empowered?
Yeah. For me, I feel like in woman empowerment, especially a woman of color, it's really about like identifying who you are, just knowing what your identity is, resilience, just maintaining resilience and determination, and just kind of pushing forward no matter what life circumstances are. You just have to keep going. I think for me, some of the things that really like help me stay empowered, I'm really big right now on self-confidence, and not in like a cocky way, really self-confidence in terms of like knowing my abilities, believing my abilities, knowing my worth, believing my worth, and standing on that. And I think just recognizing that all of my experiences, whether that be like shared life experiences, my experiences growing up, the good, the bad, they're not really limitations. Those are my strengths. That is what makes me who I am. So just holding on to that. So self-confidence has been my thing. It's staying empowered. Just like prioritizing self-care.
You say that again. Yes. Can you say that one more time? Because I need to hear that for the people back in my ears.
Because like you know, things build up. You have this day and that day. You have these situations, that situations. I need to have my massages booked because I carry a lot of stress in my shoulders. So just prioritizing that, making sure that I am taking care of myself physically, mentally. And I think another thing that's really been big for me, at least this year and this season of my life, is maintaining my boundaries, whether that's in friendships, relationships, just staying on like track with my boundaries, and holding on to that.
So powerful.
Yes, being mindful. I have always been like an ambitious person since I was a kid. So I'm that type of person that I'm doing my vision board every year.
Yes, okay, that's right. Write it down and make it plain.
Yes. My goal workbook. I am setting goals. I'm going back. I'm editing them. I'm updating them. I'm doing all that I can to make sure I'm working towards goals and not only like accomplishing them, but exceeding them and celebrating those accomplishments along the way. I think, yes. I think, you know, what else when I think about just me staying empowered is like filling myself up and immersing myself around mentors, just like friends and family that can like uplift me and support me. I think mentorship is really big because not only is a mentor going to help you grow professionally, but your personal growth as well. And you're just going to learn so much valuable insight from having mentors and allies who support and uplift you. Continuing to educate myself has been a key for me in staying empowered. Whether that be just learning more about my culture and tradition and heritage, Liberia, you know.
Yes, I was about to say, but shout out that culture.
Yes, whether it's learning just more about my heritage and culture or reading books, being on, you know, listening to podcasts, attending conferences. I'm big on that. Whether it's, you know, spiritual conference or investing conference or real estate related, all of those key aspects and help me stay empowered and uplifted.
Wow. So. It's so powerful. Just everything you touched on was amazing. And I love your intentionality behind it. Like, you know, it's something that you're not only doing from an aspect of, you know, writing it down and making it plain and then going back and reviewing, because that's the one thing, you know, we always, we can get information, we can write it down, we can get excited, and then we just move on. And it's like, no, hold yourself accountable. That's the thing that a lot of us don't get to. And I love that you are speaking about empowerment in the aspect of just a holistic picture, like getting information, staying in a place where you feel safe, secured, and you're uplifted it with positive people, and also holding yourself accountable. Because empowerment, a lot of people think comes from others, but it's also comes from you. You have to. Empowerment is a two-way thing. It's one, receiving and being around things that will uplift you, but also pushing yourself to the next level. So you really touched on that, and I love that.
Thank you.
So I know that, you know, for our event that we're having, which you'll be there, and you touched on some of it. Yes, I can't wait. You touched on some of it, but I would love for you to share your perspective on the importance of physical empowerment, because we're going to touch a lot on health related issues that really impact women of color, that we're not getting the support we need, whether it's in maternity, health, and childbirth, whether, you know, it's just fibroids and just things that really impact us, high blood pressure, and mental health, which we are going to touch on too as well, which is a big buzz thing. You hear everybody talking about mental health, mental health, go into therapy. I love it, but like, what is it really helpful? Is it something that you find helpful? How can we plug into that more in our community? Do you think we need it? And then just spiritually, as women of color, you know, I'm really a big believer, in those who listen know that I'm a Christian. I really wear that with a badge of honor, because it's part of what keeps my peace, you know. So I always hear about that and their walk of life, especially as a businesswoman and the many other titles you have.
Thank you. Yes. You know, I think there's such a huge, significant importance on health and wellness when we're like talking about those three key pieces in terms of like physical health. You know, I think for women of color, just historically, just access to healthcare has been a significant, like you touched on, maternity leave and whatever our health crises are has been a significant issue. And just like overall, in general, health disparities for women of color. So I think for us, it becomes like self-preservation. Like we have to stay physically healthy. We have no choice. We have to. I think it's all about really kind of reclaiming our bodies back. Why? Because we have to stay healthy, you know, in order for us to live like full, vibrant lives. We have to kind of reclaim that back. So physically, it's so important. And I can't wait to learn more and kind of be immersed in that and empower you. And then in terms of like mental health, you know, there's always some stigma around mental health.
Yes,
in our communities of color. Still. That it's still there, whether it's kind of the elephant in the room or that hush hush.
Yeah.
There. So I think for us, it's the big piece is just kind of like recognizing, you know, when we need the help, when we need to seek the service, acknowledging and recognizing in ourselves, I need to seek help. Because
what would you say, not to interrupt, what would you say are things to pay attention to recognize that, just in your experience?
Yes, your stress level, you know, whether you're experiencing mental health symptoms, what those symptoms look like, you know, your environment, how that impacts your mental health. And I think too, just like what it's like, the challenges we face and how that impacts our mental health as women of color, just walking through life in our day to day. So we have to start speaking up and talking about that, because that only breaks the silence on it. Because not only are we have to, you know, not only is there significance to it, focus on our mental health, but if we have a negative mental health cycle, how are we again going to thrive professionally, spiritually, you know, personally? We have to focus on that and break that silence.
Yeah, it's really a big thing that I think even after COVID, and we know that really helped to shine a light on situations that we faced long before COVID.
Right.
That I'm happy to see that people have become more comfortable with saying, hey, I'm seeing a therapist and that I need help, or hey, you know, just using their voice when it comes from the mental health aspect. But it's still a long way to go, like you said. And I think with the health disparities, that's really one of the motivators for me of doing this, because I just realized there's just so much disparities. And when I saw in America the amount of Black women who are dying in childbirth, or I watched a documentary where women were saying that they told their doctor they didn't feel right, something was wrong, and their doctor just dismissed it. And even on social media, on I think the Shade Room, you know, that's the one we all are on, that pop on.
Shade Room will have all the tea.
I know, right? I know. The time I get on there and I swipe through is always the first thing, and they sometimes have some great info. But it was a doctor who, you know, ignored her patient and ended up, or no, she didn't ignore her patient. It was a doctor who was rough with her patient and literally decapitated the baby during. And it's just, I'm sorry to even for those who are, you know, sensitive as moms or anybody, it doesn't even have to be mom. It's so hard to hear that. It's just, why is there this perception that, you know, when a Black woman says she's in pain or something's not right, that it doesn't seem to be heard sometimes compared to our counterparts. And that's really something that our lens needs to be shined on. And I'm so happy that at the event we're going to have a maternal health doctor, and we're going to Dr. Toto, and we're going to have, you know, maternity health nurse, and we're going to have a nurse practitioner who is a psychiatric nurse, and just really ask those questions, which are important. And then, of course, spiritual health. We are excited to also have somebody who's going to really touch on inner healing and things that happen in our growing up that we don't take care of, and it metastasizes into disease and physical elements. So, and statistics show that too. I have a book. It's called What the Health. I thought oh yes, I have it. Oh no, excuse me. It's called An Excellent Way to Health, as I'm tearing everything down to show it. But it's by Dr. Henry Wright. I mean, I have to promote him on this podcast because this book is powerful, and I gift.
Wait, what's the title?
Oh, it's called A More Excellent Way, Be in Health.
Okay.
And this book is powerful because I got this and I always gift it to people if they have a family member or somebody going through some sort of health issue, because it talks about how he researched as a doctor all these ways that physical health issues are tied to spiritual things. So, and it's people giving testimonies of diseases they had, and it's tied to like, hey, you have mother, you're not talking to mother, unforgiveness, or all these things that happen, and then situations that happen, it builds into, and it turns, and he researched like certain a number of people with breast cancer, all these things, and will find these patterns. So he highlights all these diseases and what he have found over the years that they're rooted in. So, you know, if you are somebody who has all this unforgiveness, and not speaking to family, you're going through this, the recommendation is to forgive and move past and let go. But it's interesting how life connects that way, and how God,
I believe it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe it.
It's so true, because our bodies weren't created to carry just the simple loads that we carry nowadays, that back in the day we didn't have to. And that's why I personally feel, this is my opinion, so YouTube, don't come at me, you know, I'm not a medical doctor, but you know, my personal opinion is that over the years we've had to really take on so much more than what we were created for, that it's really, we've seen so much growth in just so many areas that impact our children and impact ourselves as women. And again, that leads to also the fibroid conversation, which is a really deep one, and I believe has a lot of root in other things like that I've heard over years. So all that will be discussed, but I would love your perspective. And I know.
I've totally forgot to touch on the spiritual importance.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you know, and kind of branching off to that. I mean, at least for me, the importance of spirituality, and it really for me represents kind of like that resilience piece that I was talking about, just like strength and resilience. And I think connecting it back to whether it's our faith or cultural tradition, there's always going to be that sense of grounding, you know, grounding and purpose with spirituality. So it's significant. It is significant because we have to continue to address those three key pieces in order to not only continue to stay empowered, but like you had mentioned, like be able to contribute to that broader movement of health disparities. And health unity, and really like social justice altogether.
Yeah, that's a powerful way to put it, because it really is. That's what it leads to. And for me, that's why I love having women like you on, who, you know, have different stories and journeys and perspectives, because having an event like this allows me to bring everybody's perspective in, and that's why I love it. It's not this event where we just get talked at and told this and told that. It's like everybody gets the mic and can say, hey, this was my story, or hey, this is what I'm going through, or hey, sis, let me give you this advice. So it's going to be a great time, and I'm excited to.
I'm excited too.
Really
I'm so excited.
So I want to pivot a little bit, because my background is also about promoting businesses and seeing businesses reach their optimal state of success. I want to touch on your real estate business, Queeta. Tell us about the work you do. Tell us how you transition into that, and where can we find you? What's up next? All that good stuff. So put your little elevator pitch out there for us.
You know, so I jumped into real estate in 2020 in the heart of the pandemic. Like, I think I was just at a point where it's like, I want to start my own business. I want to start this road to entrepreneurship. And I've always been interested in real estate. It's so funny. By the time I actually took my courses and got my license, I was going through just a bunch of old documents, and I found brochures and all this stuff from like years before. So it's like, I've always had that passion of wanting to be in the industry. It just, you know, when it's God's timing, that's the right timing. You know, in the past, I wasn't in the right place to really do the work. And so, yeah, in the heart of the pandemic, and at that point, the interest rates were super low.
I
It
know.
was
Why didn't I take
crazy. It
advantage?
was crazy. And I'm jumping in like, is this normal? Like we're selling $50,000 over list price.
Wow.
I mean, there was people lined up down the block. I mean, it was insane. Talk about like coming in as your first experience.
Wow.
So it was an experience, and I don't take it for granted at all. I'm glad that I got to experience that.
Yeah.
And then I just hit I just hit the ground.
Wow.
I just took off just running and really like put my all into building my brand, getting myself out there. I think the great thing that what I'm so appreciative about on this journey is prior to real estate, I was just kind of in this little bubble, just my core little friends I grew up with, and that was it. And being in this industry has really pushed me out of that bubble, out of my comfort level, to meet people like Ose, which I value so much. I can hear you.
Oh, yes, I coughed and I muted. I forgot.
Okay.
I was talking like, I don't know. But yeah, we met actually at a networking event.
Yes. So I mean, that has been the beauty. I have been able to meet so many people and just really elevate my own personal growth, right?
Yeah.
And take my business to a whole nother level professionally, stepping out of my comfort zone. It has just been amazing. And I'm so grateful. And then just, not to say lastly, but the clients, the people I've been able to meet and help and kind of watch that journey has been remarkable.
Awesome.
So that's kind of my experience getting into the field. I'm primarily doing working with buyers and sellers in residential real estate. So that's kind of my key focus. A lot of work with first-time home buyers. They have my heart because I remember what it was like for me buying my first home. And I think having that experience and then having my license, I come to it with a different lens. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Much more holistic, much more supportive kind of background. So I love it. I'm right now, this time of the year, I'm usually doing home buyer seminars. So I'm working on a date for that.
Yes, I was going to say, tell us when. I'm sure
I don't have a date planned just yet, but it will be posted on my social media when I do get a date. So I'm working on that. And then I'm really kind of immersing myself into connecting in networking events because the way I kind of look at it is I have to continue to educate myself. And I talked about that earlier so that I'm able to educate my community, so I'm out there at vendor events, just talking a lot about the benefits and importance of investing in real estate. It's so crucial. And I think a lot of our community and people that look like us want to see people like me talking about it, So I'm continuing to do a lot of investing conferences, all of that stuff in the community. So where can you find me? In the community.
Yes, I love that. Yes, get out there to the people.
Yes, I'll be in the
people want to hide behind their desk. I'm like, you're not gonna get far. I was just talking to somebody. They're like, how can I connect with the communities of color? I said, get where they are. That's just that simple. You can't be behind your desk or behind the phone. So I love it. And I was gonna ask too, you touched on, you do residential, you have your upcoming event. We're gonna see on your social media, which we have up here, on your website or your website. So I'm just excited for the work you do. And I just want to just have you, close out with any last words of advice for somebody who is, wanting to jump into their empowerment movement of getting into real estate. What is 1 or 2 words of wisdom you would share with them as they are considering it? Because when you go into it, they may say, oh, well, what's going to differentiate me? What makes me different? And that's always the one thing that always tries to psych people out. And I'm like, you make yourself different. But any advice you can you share with somebody who's listening and wants to get into real estate?
Yes. I would say go for it. Go for it. Get out there, step out of your bubble, step out of your little network, push yourself professionally, push yourself. And then as far as like investing, definitely take advantage because the key to wealth is really real estate. They say 90% of the millionaires in the world are because they started off investing in real estate.
Wow.
There's so many benefits to home ownership. I mean, the possibilities are unlimited. And if you have the right support and the right kind of people to kind of guide you and learn from, oh my goodness, I would love to see where you are in 5 years in real estate. Like,
absolutely. And that means you're opening yourself up so people, if you need a mentor, no, I'm kidding. A paid mentor service. No, I'm kidding. If you're trying to build business, okay, we can't always give it away for free. But if you are looking for somebody, if you're in the Minnesota area and you're like, hey, I want to connect, look at me. I'm just making up a mentorship. Hit me up, okay?
No, hit me up. Facebook, Instagram. Yes, go to my Facebook business page, Instagram. I'm always, like I said, out in the community. You can catch me at open houses, vendor events, you name it. I'll be there supporting the community.
Thank you so much, Queeta. Thank you for being our Empower You lady today. Make sure you, as we shared, we talked about what it means to just get wisdom from Miss Queeta Lopez, our Empower You Sis guest today. We are excited for that coming up next week, October 14th. If you're in Minneapolis, again, check it out. Make sure you continue to like, subscribe, follow, all the things you can do with podcasts, because we want to continue to push you to your purpose in business, career, and beyond. My name is Ose Sesay again. Thank you for joining us on Push Talk Podcast. Thank you, Queeta.
Thank you so much for having me.
See you soon. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please share.